everyone, and welcome to another Origins of Expressions. Today, we'll be going over the phrases agree to disagree, opposites attract, as different as chalk and cheese. What do they all have in common? They're all phrases and idioms around opposites. Let's get right to work and start this video. Opposites. We all know the stereotypes. Tall and short, outspoken and shy, Democrat, Republican, a dog person and a cat person, bad boy and a good girl. You know, the things that are not the same. We have been making these types of evaluations as long as humans have been able to communicate. So it is no surprise that we see them in our idioms and phrases as a way to say these things are not the same. Today, we'll go over phrases around opposites. Let's get to work and head right into our first phrase. Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree means to set aside conflict differences in order to maintain a civil dialogue. Ugh, let's just agree to disagree. This phrase was commonly said as agree to differ. As time went on, we changed the saying to say what we know today, to agree to disagree. These two phrases have the same meaning. The phrase agree to disagree appears in print in 1608 in a work by James Anderton, written under the name John Brierly. It reads, and as our learned adversaries do thus agree to disagree in their own translations, mutually condemning, as before, each other. Today, we still use the saying. We use it when we're having a hard time coming to a similar conclusion. So you just end the debate agreeing that you both disagree with each other's outcomes. An example sentence is, after their discussion about politics intensified, Fred and Sue had to agree to disagree before it impacted their friendship. Well, let's leave this debate and head over to our next idiom. Opposites attract. Opposites attract means unlike people tend to be drawn to each other, or that different personalities are often attracted to each other. Opposites attract, right? This phrase is quite old, but it was not used the same way we use it today. It was originally used in science to explain magnetic theory. In 1785, French physicist Charles-Augustin de Coulomb developed an experimental law which states that like charges repel and opposites attract. Somehow over time, Colombo's law, which was meant solely to assist in the theory of magnetism, started being applied to romantic relationships. The idea of opposites attract was first speculated in psychology by Robert Francis Winch, who studied spouses in the 1950s and came to the conclusion that it wasn't similarities that made a relationship work. Are you thinking, why? The theory went that everyone is ultimately searching for characteristics they lack. So a great couple is one in which the personality traits complement each other. Today, we still use the phrase opposites attract to point out that two people who get along really well seem to be completely different. An example sentence is, aren't you surprised that Peter and Sally are together? A little, but they say opposites attract, don't they? Well, they're having a good conversation. Let's allow them to finish it while we move into our last idiom of the video. As different as chalk and cheese. As different as chalk and cheese means that two things are completely different from each other, to have nothing in common. Well, they're as different as chalk and cheese. This phrase originated in the 1300s in the United Kingdom. It is said that many local towns in the chalklands of the UK place the origin of the phrase in their local areas. The old story goes that there was a shopkeeper who often diluted his goods just to make some profit. So it is said that he swapped cheese for chalk, therefore saving some cheese for himself, and no one would be the wiser. However, people caught on in time, and the phrase was born to describe the difference between both products. The first recorded record of the phrase was in 1390 in John Gower's Middle English text, Confessio Amantis. It reads, lo, how they feignen chalk for cheese. Today, we do not see this phrase used as much. If you do hear it, it is used to explain the differences between two objects, that there are no similarities. An example sentence is, what she does in public and how she acts in private are as different as chalk and cheese. Well, it looks like they can use some time alone to think. Let's go ahead and move on. Ooh, fun fact. Did you know that there's no exact information about the origins of cheese? Yep, that's right. Cheese making has been around for nearly 4,000 years, according to the International Dairy Foods Association, though no one really knows who made the very first cheese. Historical records indicate that travelers from Asia brought their techniques of cheese making to Europe before the Roman Empire. Archaeological studies have shown that the foundation of cheese dates back as far as 6000 BCE, but no exact information during that time frame. Studies also show that during that era, cheese was made from cow's milk and goat's milk in Mesopotamia. Today, cheese can be produced using a variety of milk, including cow, buffalo, goat, horse, and even camel. Approximately 10 pounds of milk is required to make 1 pound of cheese. All that milk helps make the whopping 20 million metric tons of cheese produced worldwide each year, and production is increasing with growing demand. Wow, that's a lot of cheese. Well, that's the information that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed learning about the origins of our idioms and phrases. I would love to have you subscribe if you did. I hope we don't agree to disagree about whether you should subscribe to the channel. Why don't you just subscribe now and we can debate about it later? And it's quick and easy, and I would really appreciate it. Oh yeah, quick question before you go. Do you know any idioms or phrases around opposites? Maybe you know other idioms or phrases on an entirely different subject. I would love to see them. Leave them in the comments below. And if I use one of your phrases, I'll give you a shout out. Thank you again for watching and subscribing. I really appreciate your support. Until next time, bye.